All right. Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on Variant Roles. I'm Dan Gaston, your game master for this evening, and we are back with another one-shot. Variant Roles presents In the Bleeding Edge, a transhumanist cyberpunk kind of utopia slash dystopia in the quasi near future science fiction game, and we will see what happens tonight. So we've got new faces here, which is very exciting. So we have three new players on Variant Roles tonight, and I will stop blathering as I let them introduce yourself. So we'll start with my upper left with Ben. Ben, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. So yeah, my name's Ben. I'm a game designer out of Atlanta, and tonight I'll be playing Jonah Riggs, a skeptical adept who rides the lightning.
Excellent, excellent. I am excited to see what Riggs will bring to the table. We'll continue down in the lower left as I sort of Brady Bunch it with Val.
Hi, everybody. I'm Val. I'm obviously British. And this is my first time on a stream and on variant roles, so I'm a nice mix of excited and terrified. And I will be playing Rinzo, a graceful, stealthy warrior who fuses flesh and steel in the near future.
Excellent. Sounds fantastic and right up our alley for Bleeding Edge. And last but certainly not least, Mackenzie.
Which way do I have to look to Brady Bunch it?
To your, I guess your right, I think? No, other way. Yes.
Okay, that way. Hi. So I'm Mackenzie. This is my first stream and my first time playing Cypher, so I'm excited and terrified. And today I will be playing Mia Castro, a creative combat-trained explorer who talks to machines in the near future.
Excellent, excellent. So I think we have a great group of characters here tonight to dive into some Cypher system. And definitely one of the things, as I was telling everybody beforehand, that we want to do on Variant Roles is introduce people both to streaming and to new game systems. Cypher is one of my favorites. I think it is a great system to dive into and learn by playing. So that is what we are going to do tonight with our short scenario. So, we begin in the outer solar system, past the orbit of Saturn, and with a small ship that is inbound coming up on a distress call. This is your ship, and we haven't named it yet. We haven't talked about its name. Does anyone have a good idea for a name for your ship?
The first one that came to mind was Pygmalion, and I don't know why.
Oh,
Perfect.
I
I love it. I love it.
Let's
All
go
right,
with
so
For short.
yeah, so we've got a little security craft, small crew. It usually just carries a complement somewhere between 3 and 5, named Pygmalion. This ship, like most ships, has an AI on board that is perfectly capable of flying the ship all on its own. In fact, I imagine Pygmalion, which is also the name the AI takes on, probably prefers if human pilots don't fly it. But, we'll see what Pygmalion's personality shapes up to be as we go. So you had a distress call. You are a security team that works for Acheron. Acheron is one of the bigger security companies in the solar system. And a freighter liner that you have a security contract with sent out a distress call that it had lost main power and was losing atmosphere. And that was the last transmission you had from its sort of just like SOS distress beacon, which has been going off, and that you have been inbound for probably something like 36 hours responding to this call because space is big, and it takes a while to get anywhere even relatively close. So Pygmalion has navigated to this freighter, and you can see it coming up on the screens as you make your approach. It's a large ship. It's much bigger than Pygmalion is. And it's sort of divided into 3 sections. There is up front, sort of the command module, where your pilot would sit, and where the AI that pilots this craft is housed. There is another section back behind that, which is sort of the crew quarters. And then there's a large, bulky section in behind that that's sort of like the bulk freight. And, if there's any passengers and that sort of thing where they all would be housed. And then at the very, very back is, the large fusion rocket thrusters on the ship, which is outbound. It left the belt and is headed out to the outer system. So you can see the ship, and you can see something a little strange. Riding on its back above the main freight section, clinging like an obscene little tick, is a smaller ship, which has attached itself onto presumably one of the airlocks. In fact, sort of the main airlock that goes into the freight and passenger section on the ship. And Pygmalion has helpfully sort of outlined it in red, as the tactical displays come up, and presented you with, this is not normal, and it is not on the manifest, that the ship should not be here, and it hasn't yet identified the ship. So, this is what you see as you approach. What would you like to do?
Who wants to go first? Anyone?
I think Mia's probably up in the command, was it command module? Is that what it's called? The front?
So your ship also would have sort of a command module and a small crew quarters. And the ship you're approaching has a command module, crew quarters behind it, and then sort of a main freight section.
I'm probably, since I can talk with machines, I'm probably most likely hanging out with the AI. So, sorry guys.
No, we don't take it personally.
It's just, the machines are just so much more entertaining. So I guess I'm talking with Pygmalion about kind of like what if Pygmalion has any theories about what that chip might be based on the information they have.
Sure. So Pygmalion helpfully responds and says, would you like me to run a full sensor sweep?
That would be lovely.
All right. Get on that and feed it to your tactical data.
Cool. Thanks, Pig.
So Pygmalion starts, the full sensor sweep, and fires things over to you. So I'm going to have you make our first roll for the night, interpreting this array of data that is being sent to you to identify this craft. And I'm going to say that this is a level 4 task difficulty. So that would produce a target number of 12.
Mm-hmm.
But Pygmalion will count as an asset because it is a great computer system that's really working in your favor. So that will reduce it from a 4 to a 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have any relevant skills that you think might apply here, and feel free to embellish and convince me as you wish, would also further reduce the difficulty.
So I have, I'm kind of just going off my character sheet right now. I have machine affinity. Does this count as an electrical machine, or is this more just like the nebulous software data?
I mean, it is a computer system, so it is an electrical machine. So I think that your facility using it and the software both totally applies.
And also, because I don't like talking to humans, I think I spend a lot of time just sort of solving puzzles and doing riddles and kind of like just sort of playing on my own and like doing creative things, like doing Rubik's Cubes, but doing the ones that are like 5 long and like 5 by 5 Rubik's Cubes. So I think if there are certain nebulous pieces of information that like I can make the connections and sort of piece together things. And I'm taking this off my character sheet because it says you love solving riddles and the like, so I'm trained in puzzle solving tasks.
Excellent. So I think both of those apply. So generally, sort of usually one skill kind of gets applied at a time. So the asset took it from a 4 to a 3, and your skill will take it from a 3 to a 2. So you only have to roll 6 or higher.
Okay, here we go. I rolled a 4.
Hey.
It begins.
Excellent.
That's
I know nothing.
Well, you don't know nothing. Pygmalion basically pulls up and says it does identify that it is a small, relatively common type of a vessel that get used as like a small freighter or transport. The problem being that it's super common. Like this kind of craft is all through the solar system. People use it for legitimate and illegitimate purposes, and it doesn't have any obvious identifying signatures. And Pygmalion said, the transponder signal that they're getting from it when, they compare it to their internal databases, it kind of just registers as a generic like tramp freighter, but that's a common cover for smugglers and pirates and things like that too. So in Cypher, you can repeat tasks, so you can try again, but you do have to spend 1 level of effort to do so. The other time you can repeat is by spending experience points. And I forgot to do this at the first, but everyone should have 1 experience point. So you can use experience in the game you can spend it to re-roll dice roll if you want. And can also use it to refuse intrusions should I offer them. But in my experience, very few people refuse intrusions because they gain you experience for accepting them.
I think I'll wait to see. Do I have to immediately decide if I want to re-roll, or can I wait and see what other people might make of this?
Yeah, you can wait and see definitely what other people might make of it. Yeah.
Can I call?
Yeah,
I was gonna call over the rest. You guys, I don't have your names written down. I'm sorry. I will just call you over and be like, hey, can you like help? Like I can't do this like all on my own.
Rinzo, who has been kind of looking, there's like a pilot's chair. She has been eyeing that since they got here. She wants to sit in that chair, but the last time did not end well. So she's like, she wants
sit in the chair.
But yeah, every time Mia walks by, she's like, nope, don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do
so
it.
she kind of like, just like walks away from the chair, but kind of like keeps it in her vision and comes like to stand by you and looks at it and she goes, that's a ship.
Wow. Thanks.
Yeah. She's like, there's nothing I can do with I don't have any sort of aptitude with machines apart from the fact that I am part machine. Can machine me recognize anything about that ship?
So yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so we'll call this it's the same, basically the same thing. You're just approaching it from a different angle. So it's a level 4 intellect task difficulty. So that's a 12. But again, you've got all this AI processing data for you. So that's an asset. And so that or your machine affinity, either one could be an asset. And then if you have a specific skill, you could also bring that in. And if you want, you can also spend effort from intellect to also reduce it further.
Okay, I'm going to take it. So if I take it, it steps down 1 to 3, right? And then that's a 9?
Yes, yeah. So the asset would take it from a 4 to a 3, and so that's a 9 or above.
Okay, let's give it a go. 11!
All right.
Yeah!
So as you're pouring through a bunch of the sensor data, you see sort of some little things that were missed in the previous, Pygmalion's survey of the craft. And you see that this ship has been modified and actually has some weapons emplacements that it normally wouldn't have. So other than some small defensive weapons, it's not that usual for like freighters to have heavier weapons mounted on a ship. Unless they are up to no good. And this ship definitely has some heavier weapons that have been added aftermarket to this ship. They went down to Napa Space Parts and threw some heavy guns on there.
Lovely.
Space Costco.
Yeah, so it definitely looks like it is a pirate ship.
I like point at it and like turn to me and say, "That is a bad ship. That has a lot of weapons, and it is a bad, bad ship."
Do you know any of the weapons? Do you know what types they are? Are any active? I can't tell from this distance.
So now that you've seen them, it starts, now Pygmalion's like, oh yeah, now I got this, and starts listing things up on the screen. And you see, there's like some EMP pulse weapons for disabling electrical systems. There's some heavier sort of laser type systems and some rail guns.
Once Mia sees like the EMPs, she just kind of like, nope, because she has like a lot of electrical wiring. Like she has like, I imagine her with like glowing like circuit wires all up her arms, and so she just like, I don't like that.
Yeah, it doesn't look friendly at all.
So kind of seeing this, Riggs will kind of slide up and look at the screens and say, I don't think we have to worry about EMPs. I mean, and he kind of taps his fingers and does a little sparky thing. We'll be fine. They might not be though.
I kind of look at the thing with mixed interest and also a slight bit of fear because I don't think I react well when electricity goes through machine parts.
Oh no, you're like half metal. Oh no.
Because you can see, I was meant to say that, yeah, you can see like all the places there would be muscle on her arms are all like obviously synthetic enhancements and plating. Her entire legs are bionic, and so are her abdominal muscles and her entire spinal column. Just machine.
Oh, the spinal column, like a lightning. That's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lightning thing, and it's all like made to enhance, but at the same time, she looks like she wants to touch the lightning, but there's like an overriding thing that says, "Don't do it," and it's Mia's voice going, "Nope,
don't do it."
Nice.
Chill.
It's just like every time her hand goes towards it, Mia's like, no. Just slowly bats away.
So all of Val's, sort of full-on cyborg enhancements, did she just voluntarily take them on, or in her past did she have, was she like injured in combat or something and just accumulated them, replacing injuries?
I had from the bit of backstory that she was a professional ballet dancer. And she had been training for this since she was a child, and the enhancements were all to become a better ballet dancer. Like the spinal column was replaced for more flexibility, the muscles for enhanced strength. No, they weren't her choice. And at one point she went along with it, but then at one point she was like, I'm tired of people telling me I need people giving me upgrades that I don't want anymore, and kind of like whooped off. So they weren't willing additions, but she doesn't resent them.
Gotcha.
They were all to make her the best ballerina she could be. And at that point at just one point she was like, I've had enough now. I'm just going to pack my little knapsack with my bread and cheese and just hop on out to space. Because she's never been, this is like a big thing. She's really excited. She's always just been trained. So she's like really excited to see everything.
And now she works for a large corporate security concern.
Yeah, now she's like, what can I use my weird enhancements for professional ballet for? Punching. Yes.
Perfect. So Pygmalion flags for
and
you
hardcore
that
parkour. Thank you.
and hardcore parkour, absolutely. So Pygmalion flags for you that the freighter that you're approaching, obviously this other small pirate ship has attached on to one of its bigger airlocks, but it does have a secondary airlock that goes directly into the crew section of the ship as well. And there's like some emergency type airlocks, like are on the command module and things like that. So you have your choice on where you would want to dock on the ship.
Well,
Go on.
I'd say the first thing to do would be get to the crew area, see if any of them are still alive. But if the distress signal was sent out 3 days ago, I'd be a little skeptical about it.
They're fine.
You sure?
Vacation. It's a pirate vacation.
Eh,
It's all
I
been a
don't
team
know.
building exercise.
Do we
Gone
know
horribly wrong.
what carrying?
Yes. So the crew, the manifest came up. They were carrying mostly cargo, bound for the outer system, most likely going to the gate at Farout, and from there to an extrasolar colony. And it does have some passengers. Again, sort of people outbound as colonists. Chances are they would be normally put in cold sleep, so cryo-capped, and in basically suspended animation, because then you can just stick them with the cargo, which is way easier than providing them nice living quarters. So it's basically carrying cargo. Some of it just happens to be human cargo. The other briefing note that you have is that there is a very special package from Monolith Systems on board. Very special cargo. You have no idea what it is, other than you know the physical dimensions and like what the crate looks like. And you have a secondary objective to make sure that that is intact and has been unopened and unbreached. And if it has been, you need to make sure that Monolith's plausible deniability on any and all unforeseen circumstances is maintained, because they're a very good client of Acheron's.
Do we want to try calling them first? Like just calling the ship, see if anyone picks up?
Pizza delivery.
Do they have pizza in space?
Oh,
Spicy.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like the fancier versions of like the frozen kind. Like it's, pre-made, or it gets assembled in, a replicator type nano food manufacturing. Yeah. So pizza is definitely on the menu.
Is there any chance that we can call them and lie that we are pirate buddies, pirate pizza? I sense this is a
Pirate pizza.
pirate pizza.
We are the pirate pizza company. You're getting pizza. You're pirates.
We are pirates. We deliver pizza. We have a niche clientele for all your pirating pizza needs.
Well, I mean, the ship did send out a distress call. It's possible that the pirates are just as stranded as the passengers.
Yeah, but do we have to help the pirates?
I would say
No.
a resounding no.
No. Yeah. Acheron would consider that you have free reign to use extreme prejudice in how you deal with space pirates.
Does our ship have
Okay, so you have a
weapons?
choice. We can go through a mud. That's a good point.
Your ship does indeed have weapons and placements, because you can't go and be a good security company unless you're more heavily armed than most of the people you run into. But Pygmalion would remind you that given the nature of the package on the ship, that destroying the ship would not be in Acheron or Monolith's best interests.
Yeah, but what about just the little pirate one?
So
Pirates are probably already on board. So
Yeah, we bust their ship, then they'll probably be more pissed at us.
and they might also take our ship.
Hell
And
yeah.
then we're stuck on
Yeah.
the thing.
And we love Pig. Just give
Don't
him a
touch
pat
pig.
pat.
Don't touch pig.
Just like again, no.
yeah, so you could definitely try and damage just the pirate ship if you wanted to. It would be a very hard task, especially to not damage the freighter at the same time. it would probably be some sort of like level 8 task
Oh, man.
difficulty. So it'd be like without starting to stack on, you know, effort and assets and all of that. It would be, it starts at impossible and then gets down to very difficult.
Right. So maybe not.
I vote stealth. Go one of the emergency exits. Kind of just like duck under and be like, we were never here.
Yeah, we can quietly do that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a solid plan. Pig, you want to bring us in quietly?
I can do that. And so
Pig's steadily becoming more British.
I will not attempt a horrible British accent from my point of view when I have actual British people on my game. Because then it will just be insulting.
Please do all our accents. I personally support Pygmalion's Britishness.
I imagine Pygmalion is a little bit like Jeeves. He's a little bit fussy and fastidious, and or yeah.
He's like Giles from Buffy, just kind of like,
yes, you kids. So Pygmalion says, right away, stealth mode initiated. And
great, we have a stealth mode.
Oh yes, of course.
We didn't even know we had a stealth mode.
Perfect. It's just we haven't needed it before.
Usually, them just blowing them up works.
Yeah,
Never needed
exactly.
stealth.
Who believes in going in quietly? And so Pygmalion sort of goes like electronics dark, you know, throws up some shielding and makes a stealthy approach and asks if you would like to try the emergency airlock in the command module, or if you would take one of the sort of main airlocks, which goes into the crew section.
Which one is closer to the pirate ship?
The one that goes into the crew section.
Do we want to go close to the bad ship or far from the bad ship?
I'm tempted to say we should go to the command center first, because there we might be able to get some good information about what happened to the ship. And then also just access to systems like, you know, cameras, computers, things like that.
AI?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the flip side, it's where the pirates are most likely to be, so fingers crossed.
Well, I mean, that just makes our job a little bit faster, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just like, well, that was a short trip.
We'll see.
So Pygmalion sort of goes in, sort of goes underneath the command section of the ship and sort of comes up and attaches an airlock to the ship. And Pygmalion does notify that the ship is without power, for sure. And seems like if it has any atmosphere, it's pretty low. So recommends that you go like suited. And it's because it has no power, it's artificial gravity off. So you'll definitely want to have a suit. Thanks for the host dice priori. Appreciate that. So you've got your choice of spacesuits. You got sort of a selection there to use. There's the simplest suit, which will work, you know, as giving you an atmosphere, environmental suit, that sort of thing. Quite lightweight. You know, it doesn't look anything like a NASA spacesuit of today. It's very sleek and doesn't get in the way. Basically just does what it needs to do and has like magnetic boots. Thanks for the follow as well. And you can go up to, for instance, like armored, like battle type spacesuits that would also have armor and things like that on top of it. And the choice is totally yours. If
I'm hardcore parkour, so I'm going for the lightest one.
Perfect.
I think Mia will also go for the lighter one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go lightweight as well.
All right. Excellent. And even the lightest one, we'll say, does qualify as sort of light armor. So it will give you an armor of 1. So that does a damage reduction on anything coming in on you. And light armor doesn't really hinder you very much. It's pretty easy to just wear.
Perfect.
All right. So Pygmalion sets the seal and says that the airlock is ready and is ready to let you access the command module of the ship. It's applied the Acheron security overrides already to gain you access, so you can't be locked out. And says, good luck.
Thanks, Pig.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Pig.
thanks. So who should go first?
I'll go.
Great.
I was Rinzo just kind of like walks up and is really excited. It's like a pirate ship. She's psyched for it. She's like, let's do this.
He says that and then sighs and then follows immediately, like rubbing the temples.
Then I guess, yeah, Riggs will be in the back, rubbing his hands together.
Static.
Yeah, this will probably be fine, right?
It'll be fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, I'll make sure I've
They're
got
just pizza pirates.
one of the things in my inventory is a bag of miscellaneous batteries and power cells. I'm definitely making sure I still have that.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. All right. So you traverse sort of through the airlock, and when you get into the command module of the other ship, it is indeed dark. So there's not even there's a couple like flickering sort of emergency lights, but that's it. Otherwise, the main power is totally out. It is cold, although you can't feel that through your suit, but you can see like frost on all of the surfaces. And the door into the command module, so the door that would lead from here into the rest of the ship, is closed. So like the bulkhead has slammed closed. You also see 2 corpses in the command module. So slumped over, sort of seated at a seat, and then slumped over the console with a neat little bullet hole drilled into the back of its head is what you presume is the pilot. It's just got a jumpsuit on. And then there is a woman in the room as well in, basically some like leather pirate gear. And has a firearm laying beside her, but she appears as if she has been cut to pieces. I mean, like she's physically in one intact body, but has definitely been attacked with some sort of like bladed weapons, and you can see like large gashes torn through her, and quite a lot of blood splattered everywhere.
Wonderful. This is just what I was hoping for. What about you two?
This is like,
Yeah,
wow,
see-
this is gross. This is I don't feel like space pizza anymore.
This is why I don't deal with humans.
Hey,
Usually deal with humans. Is there any way you can give this thing more juice, Sparkplug?
yeah, totally. So probably just used to being called Sparkplug at this point. I'm going to go up to.
I have nicknames for both of you picked out
There
already.
you go. Yeah. I'll go up to the terminal, kind of gently push the corpse off of it, so it just kind of floats away in zero
no.
gravity, and see if I can just put some power into the thing.
Okay. So we'll say that this is similarly a level 4 difficulty task. So that would give you a target number of 12. This is an intellect task. And we'll say you're feeding it some power from, like, a appropriate fuel cell. So I'll consider that an asset. So that
All
will
right.
reduce it to difficulty 3. And then what do you have for skills?
I don't really have much in the way of skills at all with this character. All I'm really good at is identifying and investigating stuff. But hey, I got electricity fingers, so
All right,
see how I have a bunch of batteries and the ability to move power from them. So
perfect. So you're down to a 3. And you can, of course, spend effort. So this is an intellect task. So you can spend 3 points out of your intellect pool, which would reduce it down to a 2.
we'll just try it as a 3 for now. See how that goes.
Sounds good.
Oh, 20.
Excellent.
Off to a good start.
Excellent.
Is it natural 20?
Yeah, actually. So
Yes. So that also gives you a major effect. So the one that's listed on your sheet is just a suggestion, and they're kind of combat oriented. So what actually happens? Because I'm assuming that would be bad, like some horrible discharge of
devices
electrical
filled with
energy.
electrical power explode.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
yeah. That's not what happens because you're not trying to
Okay.
damage anything. So you jack in the power cell, and normally you feel like jacking in the power cell would at best power like one console in the command module, right? Because it takes a lot of energy to power everything.
Right.
But you know, it had a little bit more juice than what you thought. You apply some of your electrical rides the lightning energy into it, and at least briefly, the entire command module lights up. So it's not power through the whole ship, but the sort of regular lighting comes on in this room. All of the screens flicker to life. And because you wouldn't have normally had access to it, you have access to the freighter's AI.
Oh, hey.
So it comes on the line, and it just it's kind of choppy and staticky a little bit, like, you know, the power's kind of flickering, and identifies itself as Canary Yellow, and says, in emergency mode, I am Canary Yellow. How can I help you?
I kind of look at Mia.
Is there any way? Okay. Do you know what happened? Do you have a? Is there any way we can access your black box?
Initiating recovery mode, surveillance footage, and sort of a screen sort of flickers to life and starts flicking through sort of at relatively high speed some security footage from both outside the ship and inside the ship. And what I will say is, because Canary Yellow is trying to give you as maximal amount of information as possible in the short time span that it will be active. So the difficulty here is sorting out it, because it's like it's playing a movie at like 10 times the normal speed. So depending what information you're going to get out of this, I'm going to call this a level, again, I think just a level 4 intellect task. And we already know you've got a skill, I think, that's totally appropriate. I think your puzzle solving forte here would be really great, unless you have a different skill that you might want to use.
I'm trained in any task that involves learning something new. So that
Okay.
would be better.
Hey.
Perfect, even better. So yeah, so you're very good at picking up new information. So that will reduce it to a 3. And again, you can spend effort if you want, or anything like that.
Effort. Okay, quick question. If I have an intellect edge of 1, then if I spend effort for an intellect test, I only spend 2 points, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. Just because this is important, I'm gonna spend the effort.
Okay, so that will reduce it to a 2, so 6 or higher.
All right. Rolling a different dice. So let's see what happens. It's a 9.
Hey, perfect. And Canary Yellow, when it's also putting through all the information, also indicated that it was shutting down the automated security system for the command module, which is probably a good thing. Yeah. And so all this information goes through. And so, yes, you do indeed get the impression from the external sensors of this ship approaching, firing a warning shot on the freighter, and then disabling partly with an EMP pulse, attaching, and then you saw sort of internal security cams of a group of raiders coming through, attacking the crew, start going through lots of the internal like cargo, and someone come up into the command module. You see the woman put a bullet through the pilot's head. Then you see the lockdown, so the bulkhead door is closed, and a dog-looking robot with all kinds of attachments of like spinning saw blades and pincers unfolded out of a wall, which when you look over, you can see the slot where it's actually now housed, and killed the pirate. So they did a pretty secure raid. And at the very end, you see someone in the crew quarters, but an area where there's some cargo stored, tinkering with a box that matches exactly the description of Monolith Systems' special package cargo. And when it opened, there was a flash of light, and that's when the recording stops. So all of the systems through the ship appeared to have been disabled and knocked out at that point.
Well, it looks like we might have to do some talking to people.
Oh.
Hooray!
No.
Oh.
That package, what is it?
Work.
That very special package or whatever. Someone broke into it.
Okay, well, as long as Acheron and Monolith are not liable for whatever happened afterwards, I think we'll be all right.
I think whatever happened afterwards was a lot of this. That's what cut off the security footage once that thing opened.
That makes things a little bit more complicated then. Huh.
Let's find the box. Let's figure out if the box is already opened, we can look in it, see what happened.
It's fair. Just check its integrity.
That is fair.
It's more if we figure out what it was, we can make a good lie.
That's fair. I'm going to check the door leading into the rest of the ship. Is it locked or anything? Or
So it had sort of in emergency mode, had slammed closed and locked. But when Canary Yellow disabled the security systems in the command module, it now sort of like the opening pad that you can, just slap and open the bulkhead door, went from a red to a green. So it looks like it's not locked now.
Oh, okay, great.
I walk over.
Can you think of anything else we need to do on the bridge?
I walk over and just before we do anything else, I walk over and I pick up the weapon that is by the fallen pirate side and just we may need this, so I'm going to take it.
It's a good idea.
She doesn't need it anymore, so we're fine.
Excellent.
Actually, watching what Rinzo do that, I'm going to go over and loot the body.
Excellent. All right. So go ahead and give me. This is going to be an intellect challenge. It's just a difficulty level 2.
Okay. That's a natural 1. Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no.
All right. So natural ones.
Sorry.
So natural ones in Cypher trigger intrusions. So this is where I throw a wrinkle into the proceedings. Sometimes it can be in your favor, but often it's a complication. And on a natural 1, you can't refuse it by spending experience, and you don't get experience for it either. It's just a little wrinkle I throw in. So you start rooting around with the body, and you notice that the corpse has an odd gray tint to all of her veins, like where her veins were. And as you're looting, the hand snaps out
Oh god.
and grabs a hold of your arm. And the eyes open, and they're just black and vacant. So I'm going to have everyone make speed checks as we sort out initiative. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to roll a speed check. If you're trained in initiative, which is a skill that you can possibly have depending on your character, similarly it reduces difficulty. So the way it works is there's a target number for the creature. Everyone who does better than that, like basically succeeds on their speed challenge, is going to go before it, and in the order basically that you roll, and then the creature, and then anyone that fails will go after it.
That's a
Different
cool
dice now. I rolled another natural 1.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I got a 2, so I think this one's all up to Rinzo.
I got a 14.
All right, so
It's all up to
Rinzo. So Rinzo is indeed going to go first. So the corpse is clearly animated and awake, and looks intent on doing harm to your friends.
Okay, I used the gun that I just stole from her, and can I aim it at her and just immediately shoot the arm that's holding Mia?
Yeah, absolutely. So is the handgun that you picked up? Do you want it to be a light or a medium weapon?
I'll go with I'll go with light.
Okay. All right. So it is a task difficulty level of 3. It's eased by 1 step, so it's down to a 2 for using a light weapon. So you can go ahead, and that will be a speed roll.
I got a 9.
A 9. Okay, so that hits, and so it does 2 points of damage. So it hits. It doesn't like end up hitting quite where you were aiming at on the arm to like knock it away from her, but you do hit sort of more in the shoulder area, and it does punch through, and it does seem to do some damage.
Thanks.
Yeah, my whole thought was like, not the grumpy friend. This is I was shooting it like, not her.
Excellent.
She's my self-control.
Yeah, literally the thought was, she's the only reason I haven't died yet.
So the hand.
She stops lightning. She stops me touching lightning.
So Mia, the hand tightens on your arm a little bit more as the corpse sort of pulls you towards it and sort of lunges at you with its mouth as it goes to bite you. So this will be a speed challenge for you in your defense, and it is a difficulty level of 2.
Okay.
Because it's not super, great.
I don't know what dice to roll. They all suck today. All right. Come on. Get out all your bad luck now, please. Oh, goodness. Okay. I got a 19.
Okay. Perfect. So 19 actually gives you a major effect.
I think it's minor.
On could be. Oh yeah, that's right. If you were attacking, it gives you extra damage, but yes, it gives you a minor effect as well. So I'm going to say that you not only successfully evade the bite, but you shake off the arm that's holding you as well, and sort of knock it back a little bit, and get yourself separated from the corpse a little bit as well.
Ew, 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 ew.
Exactly. And it's sort of like pushing itself up off the ground, and it's not moaning, it's eerily quiet, deadly quiet, as it were.
Of course.
And that is going to bring us to Rig's turn.
seeing that Mia is clear of the thing, I'm just going to hold out my hand and shoot an Iron Man blast at this thing.
Yes.
All right, excellent.
Yeah, so this will be an onslaught thing.
Yes.
So,
yeah, so the cost is canceled out by your edge, and it will be, I believe it's still speed for you, right? Doing the ranged attack with it?
it doesn't specify, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, so it'll be speed. All right. So it sort of, the energy blast sort of crackles by it and impacts against the bulkhead, which causes a monitor to explode in a shower of sparks. And sort of the power is flickering a little bit in the command module. And then it's going to be Mia.
Oops.
I guess I'm just gonna like try and sweep my leg out and kick it.
Okay, perfect. So this will be a might attack roll for you. So again, it's a difficulty level of 3. Are you doing your unarmed because you are no need for weapons? Is it going to be a light or a medium attack?
Let's do light.
Okay. So that takes it from a 3 to a 2.
Come on, come on, come on. It's an 11.
Excellent. So you crack it as you sweep the leg. It doesn't go down, but it does take 2 points of damage. So you hear sort of like a couple of tendons snap in its ankles as you kick it.
Shoot it! Shoot it, please! Shoot it!
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Is
It's
that-
just
yeah,
it's
is there
moving a
any
little
way-
bit. I'm trying not to hit you.
Shoot it in the face.
And
Where?
we are back. And so we're back to Rinzo.
Is there any way I can like shoot and kind of like pull Mia backwards from it at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, you're all sort of staying within immediate distance of it, but yeah, you can be like sort of pulling her back a little bit as you shoot.
It's like, nope. Whoop. So yeah, I'm going to aim for. I don't know what position they're in, but if I can aim for the face, I'm going to aim for the face.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of. I think the way that sort of like targeted shots would work in this is, you'll do an attack roll like normal, and if you get a minor or major effect, then you end up hitting specifically where you're aiming.
Cool. I'm going to shoot it with the light weapon again.
All right, so that is a speed roll for you, and again, it's a level 3. But if light, so level 2.
You got another 9.
Excellent. So you shoot it again, hits again, sort of ricocheting off a shoulder, and we'll do 2 points of damage. So it's definitely getting battered, the creature, and it seems pretty banged up, but pretty intent at the same time. And so it's going to lunge towards you this time, Rinzo. So go ahead and make a speed defense roll against a level 2.
14.
14. So again, you sort of neatly step aside as it sort of is just like lunging towards you.
The lunge comes and I'm like, whoop.
Yep. And it's going to be Riggs.
All right, so waiting for this thing to kind of drift a little bit farther past Rinzo, since we're in 0 gravity, I'm going to hesitate a second and then try to blast it again.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we'll see how this one goes. 11.
All right, so that does indeed hit.
Cool.
So
And
how much damage does your onslaught do?
4.
All right. So it's not looking too good as your lightning arcs into it. You can see a bunch of implants that the corpse had sort of in its body like explode and detonate as you overload them.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We probably have sparks and bits all flying in every direction now, so.
Absolutely.
My bad.
Like her hair catches fire and she's like, oh, nope, 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 nope.
And Mia.
Okay, in my inventory it says I have a weapon of my choice, but I don't think we ever discussed that. So
Yeah, so this is one of them. Like we just decide in the moment. So basically, if you want a light, medium, heavy weapon, totally up to you and what nature it takes. You can pull a great big gun out of nowhere. Totally up to you.
I was just thinking, like, what is a light, sort of like a handgun or a pistol, kind of like what Rinzo got off the corpse, or something similar to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of like your standard issue Acheron security sidearm.
So I just, since I'm far away and I don't want to get any closer, I'm just going to take a shot at it.
Perfect. So again, so it'd be normally a 3, but reduced to a 2 because you're using a light weapon.
That's an 8.
All right, so that is enough, and it deals 2 damage, which is enough. So this time, you manage to drill it sort of in the head, and it's just like someone cut the strings on a marionette as it kind of collapses to the ground. Because the gravity had been sort of reactivated in the command module when you brought the systems online, and it sort of thumps down to the ground, and like a few of its like little implants and stuff kind of slide out and detonate, and there's a pile of stuff there.
Ew.
I kind of like.
Sorry,
Sorry,
you go ahead. No, it's you. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I kind of like Rinzo like just points and just looks at the two of you and like, I know we're in space and everything, but that's weird, right? That's not normal.
Yeah, actually, and Riggs is going to walk up and put on some glasses and push a button on them and scan it.
Oh, excellent! Yes.
I can't.
Yes, this is Ella. She's the Variant Rules mascot. She often stays in here while I stream, and she wanted some attention. So why don't you read what your scan ability does?
All right, so it says it's 1 intellect point, and is that before or after getting reduced by the edge?
Before.
Okay, so it ends up being 0?
Ends up being free, yep.
Perfect, yeah. So I scan an area equal in size to a 10-foot cube, including all objects or creatures within that area. The area must be within short range. Scanning a creature or object always reveals its level. You also learn whatever facts the GM feels are pertinent about the matter and energy in that area. Many materials and energy fields prevent or resist scanning. So,
okay. So yes, so you sort of pull up basically like your tactical HUD on your glasses, your sensors. You tap in, scan through the area, and you pick up distinct traces in the corpse of very advanced nanotechnology. And so the creature was indeed a corpse, sort of reanimated by the nanotech. It was a level 3 creature, but it's a corpse, so it wasn't particularly, spry or anything like that. And likely seemed to have very little intelligence. But it was definitely some kind of very advanced nanotech that took over the corpse and sort of reanimated it.
And I'll relay that to the other two with the add-on of, well, I mean, if it's nanotech, then Mia, do you think you could maybe talk to it? Like, not anymore, not that one, but if we find any more?
From your scan, if that was added in within the last, 3 days?
I look at the glasses again.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that someone would be carrying around with them, like, built in. That kind of nanotech and that extensive an infiltration is more like getting infected with something.
I mean, could I talk to it? Probably. I don't know how much it would want to talk.
That's a different problem. Let's not worry about it yet.
Is there any chance at all that this was a coincidence and the box is totally fine and didn't release weird zombie nanites Any chance? No, I didn't think so.
Nah, I don't believe in coincidences.
Oh. Okay, let's go
Right.
find another one to be friends with.
Is that what just happened here?
Friends.
Friends come in many different forms. You
Some
and
friends
Mia.
want to murder you.
Exactly. Like you and Mia, and then we have our new murder friend, who's kind of dead now, but we'll find another one.
Yeah, I'm kind of afraid of that. And at this point I'll just like hit the button on the door and open it and see what's next.
Just like nope.
Yeah, just
Nope.
So the door hisses open, and beyond it is dark, just the odd little security light here and there, because you only sort of restored power
Right.
to the command module, which at this point seems to be fading and going out. So in the main part of the ship, everything is floating because the artificial gravity, like grav plates on the ground, are not active. So everything's floating around. It's cold again, sort of everything's covered with a layer of frost. And you do periodically see, just kind of like you can see drifting through and across the light, little moving shapes in the darkness. Your environment suits that you're wearing have like magnetic boots, so you can activate them so you can walk around like it's kind of normal. And of course, you do have like flashlights and head-mounted lights and things like that you can use as well.
Want me
Is
to
there
try
any
and
way
scan these
to-
things?
I was just about to say that. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Scan.
Well,
Scan,
great.
Sparky.
All right. And I'll tap the glasses again, which I
All
guess I'm
right.
wearing over a helmet now.
Well, or
Fine.
you've got like something built into your visor or something like that for your systems.
Glasses for the helmet.
Yeah. So you can scan a 10-foot area. So you're gonna need to activate it when one of these things flies through like an appropriate
Right.
space, which is a little difficult because it's dark and you're tracking things with your light. So I'm gonna say that targeting it in this case to scan is gonna be, let's call it a level 3 intellect task.
Okay. So it actually just so happens that I'm pretty good at in identifying and investigating stuff.
Perfect.
One of my skills happens to be, it specifically mentions like a shell game kind of thing as an example.
Perfect.
So, all right.
I totally buy that, so that will reduce it to a 2.
Cool.
So 6 or higher.
And that'll be a 14.
14. All right, so you manage to target as one of these objects drifts through. You get the light on it, and you scan it. And what comes up is sort of, a little bit of an unknown in terms of directly identifying it. But it does appear to resemble, in some ways, some of the droids that you would have quite often on ships. So little sub-intelligent autonomous droids that do like repairs and things like that on the ships. But it appears like it's been assembled out of like scrap materials. And in fact, when you're watching one of these, it goes to a section of wall, pulls out a little laser cutter, and like cuts out some metal. A little pincer comes out, rips some metal and wires out, track it back. It goes where some of these are gathering and starts, it looks like it's assembling another droid out of parts of the ship.
Oh, great. And I'll relay this to the other two.
And its level, I will tell you here.
Yeah.
It is level 3.
So this thing's about as dangerous as whatever that was in the control room. And I'm willing to bet that these are the same kind of things. Because don't think these repair droids are part of the ship. Like, they're taking parts of the ship, but I don't think they came with this thing.
You want me to deactivate one so we can bring it closer?
Yep.
That could be interesting. Yeah, it might be better to get a closer look at these.
All right. I would like to use my distant activation ability.
Okay.
Okay, so it says I must understand the function of the machine. It must be your size or smaller, and it can't be connected to another intelligence or be intelligent itself.
Okay. That all sounds perfectly reasonable.
So I guess the closest one that kind of is straying from the pack, I'll just and hope it goes limp.
All right, so you sort of establish a radio connection to it, and it sort of just stops in place. It's got little fan motor, sort of quadcopter drone type thing, where it's hovering a little bit.
Night. And then I just kind of shove it over.
It sort of just clangs against the side of the ship.
Just shh, stop. And then I guess I'll show it over the rigs and be like, all right, here's one. Take it apart.
Do you want to try talking to it before I do that? Or
I could, but I have to turn it back on.
Oh, I can turn it back on. But,
I can too. It's just more of I don't want it going back and telling the others.
Let me see if I can do something about that. I've got this tinker ability. Is it possible that I'd be able to go in and modify this thing's antennas or whatever to isolate it from the rest of the droids?
Yeah, that would be something that's doable. I'm going to say it's pretty challenging.
Okay.
We'll call that a 5.
Okay.
But other than the ability, what other sort of skills and things do you have maybe to bring to bear?
That's about it.
Is there something where I can assist with the task, or
if you have a relevant skill yourself, then yes, you can absolutely. One person can sort of help and sort of apply their skill, and then you become an asset basically, and reduce his thing. So if you have some good technical skills that apply there, then you can help him out.
Well, I am. Since I'm creative, I'm trained in one specific creative skill, and I chose that skill to be making robots.
Perfect.
So, there you go.
Excellent.
I'm going to help you bend these antenna and hope something happens.
Yeah,
all right.
We'll see how this goes.
So we've gone from a 5 to a 4, and of course you can spend some effort to reduce it to a 3 if you wanted to.
That feels like a safe bet at this point. How much of my intellect pool does that drain?
So it costs 3 to spend a level of effort, and of course if you've got an edge of 1, then that subtracts off, so it would cost you 2.
Cool. So then that'll go down to 15, and we'll look for a 9 or better. I got an 18.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right. So you're in there with your tools and tinkering around, and you think that you've sussed out some stuff with the antennas, that if there is some kind of hive that it's connected to, that it does not appear to be connected to it anymore.
All right, I think we're okay. Want me to turn it back on now?
I can do it too, I think.
Oh yeah, sure.
No offense to you, Sparkplug, but you might short him out, and I'm gonna turn him back on using distant activation.
All right. So similar to how you had turned it off, you sort of establish a little bit of a radio contact on its new frequency, and the lights sort of flicker, and it's hovering, and it's just hovering there in front of you.
I smack its face like, hey buddy, wake up. What are you doing?
So, of course, with your distant activation, so it's not intelligent. So it doesn't really have any intellect of its own. So it doesn't appear to be capable of speech.
It's not talking.
Is there any way, does it have any sort of like way to look through any memory history or try and trace it back to who is controlling it?
Quite possibly. Yeah, that sounds like something reasonable that you could attempt. To sort of, you've already had it open and monkeying around with it a little bit. It seems to have some cobbled together computer parts in there, some memory crystals, that sort of thing. So it is definitely something that you could essentially attempt to hack its memory.
Okay, I might try and hack its.
I don't have that ability on that anymore.
I do not have a hacking ability other than my bionicness to look back at memories and try and like interface with it. But I can try.
I can, I guess, help since I'm trained in tasks involving electrical machines, so I can see what I can do to help. But I think your bionic interface is going to be a little bit more helpful.
Yeah, so I think it'll start at a 5. We'll say that your bionic interface is an asset, so that reduces it to a 4. And then the assistance of someone who is a little bit more skilled in the technical bits would reduce it to a 3. We're looking for a 9 or better.
Help by scanning the thing and just identifying what stuff is?
I think, I could be mistaken, but sort of, I don't think we normally stack like multiple assets and skills.
Okay.
Give it a go.
Although you might be able to. But I think it's usually sort of like one of each.
3's still okay.
16.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. So when you sort of bionically interface with it, what does that look like?
I kind of put my sort of fingers towards it, and you see the synthetic plating that was around them kind of lift back as I like place it on the crystal, and this bionic bit underneath glows blue as I touch the crystal, and you can see like small, just like data parts traveling in between.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh yeah, like the little light sort of.
You sure you were only just a ballerina?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I love it. It's fine. Don't worry.
Something else where you're from?
They trained me to be the best, and they wanted me to be good at a lot of things. I didn't really ask questions. Maybe I should have done.
Yeah.
Really diverse curriculum.
Oh well. Just like, huh. Oh well.
So you basically start like riffing through like logs, like log files on the drone, and you scan back, and you're going forward through the right time. All the early logs actually appear to be sort of routine like maintenance logs. It says like activated to repair hull plate 45 in aft section. Like actually reads like maybe it was at least initially a repair drone for the ship. And then you hit a point about 3 days ago where everything starts getting garbled. So the commands all look like someone wrote them in a different language. So they start having like weird characters inserted in them, and it sort of degrades over time. It seems to get worse and worse and worse until the logs kind of just end. But you do see a little bit of code for a frequency, so a radio frequency that looks like was its connection that you broke sort of physically, but the carrier code that it was communicating on previously.
I relay this back to them, and with the frequency code, and kind of like, I like this robot. I like to pet him.
You said it was like another language?
Yeah.
I have an ability that says if I spend 1 minute examining a piece of writing or code in a language you do not understand, I can make a roll to get the gist of the message.
Perfect. Excellent.
It says 1 intellect point, but I have an edge of 1 for my intellect, so I think it's just a free.
It is. Yep.
And it says I can make an intellect roll of difficulty 3 or higher based on the complexity of the language or code.
Okay. I'm going to say that this is a little bit more challenging. So we'll call it similarly to what it was before for the other tasks, that it will start at a 5. But you do have your skill in puzzles.
Puzzle solving.
Right? So like double stacking that. So that will take it down to a 4.
All right. Anyone want to help me? Does anyone have anything that can help me?
I'm good at identifying stuff. That could help a little bit. Just with like pattern recognition, maybe.
I buy it.
Yeah,
so
this character's also here, so
yeah.
All
I
right.
buy that, so that will take it down to a 3, so 9 or
All
better.
right, cool. Here we go. I got a 3.
So yeah, you spend some time, you picked out some likely patterns, but in the end it just seemed way too foreign. It doesn't look like any computer programming language you've ever seen. It doesn't look like compiled binary code or anything like that. It literally looks like gibberish.
Yeah, this is nothing like anything I've ever seen. I don't know what to do.
well, do we want to go ahead and take bets that it came from the box?
Oh, it's gonna have come from the box, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
It's a very special package. We can't know what's in the very special package. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah,
I
if
hate
they
this
don't tell you
company.
what's in the package, it usually means it's something bad, and they don't want you to worry about it. This is fine.
All right. Do we want to leave our little friend on, or should I just put him to sleep again?
Is he like separate from the hive mind?
Looks like it.
I have already adopted this small robot. Your name is Steve now.
Some lights flicker on it. It sort of ramps its motors up and down, so it goes like, woo.
Wait, Steve. Can you actually understand us?
There's sort of like a little warble. It probably doesn't understand verbal directions much, but it seems to at least recognize that you're not a threat and
All right.
that sort of
And
thing.
we've named it Steve.
And that you've named it Steve.
All right, cool. I guess we're keeping Steve with us.
I just kind of I pet him, say, "You're a good robot, Steve."
Sort of bobs up and down a little bit.
Boing, 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 boing.
I love this robot so much. You get the feeling that Rinzo would just immediately die for this robot. And 15 seconds.
Riggs just kind of shrugs. All right, so we don't see any crew members here, do we?
You don't. So you're kind of just in a narrow hallway. There's doors lining either side that go into the individual sort of crew bunks and crew quarters. And your flashlights that you're shining down the hallway eventually open out into a bit of a bigger space, which is the sort of section before you get to the actual cargo area that's used for storing more important gear and probably the higher priority cargo, so special cargo, which looks like it was the room that you saw in the security cams where the Monolith box was.
Right. Well, do we want to check there first, or do we want to check for survivors?
If they're survivors, they might be infected. We should hit that box.
actually sounds like a really good plan.
I vote hit the box.
Box it is. And I guess Riggs will start down the hall.
All right. So your mag boots sort of, do that nice like the thunk, the thunk, the thunk as you go down the hallway as they sort of release and then clamp on. But you're well versed in their use, so they're not hindering or slowing you down any. Some other of these like little drones are periodically flying by and doing stuff to the ship, but they don't appear to as you get near them, they don't become hostile. They basically don't seem to pay any attention to you at all.
Do we notice
It's
if the little
probably nice.
drones are building like other little drones, or are they working on like one pile?
No, so like as you go down, you see like other little piles. It seems like they're sort of replicating, making more little drones.
That's never a good thing.
No.
Yeah, Riggs will just be rubbing his hands together again.
So there's probably, like you see floating around in the hallway, there's probably about like 6 of them that are like floating around and doing their own thing.
I'm concerned for Steve's friends.
I like cover. He obviously does not have ears. I cover his ears and go, "Me too. We may have to kill them all."
Well, they're not hurting us. Like, not his baby ears.
Tiny ears, like, but not Steve. Steve is fine. Don't worry. Yes, good Steve. It's like, but just like, we may have to kill the others, but not Steve.
Right.
Whenever tiny drones build more tiny drones, as Rick said, it's usually not for happy purposes.
Yeah, it's not something you usually want to see your Roomba doing, is making more Roombas.
Roomba makes another Roomba.
Is your Roomba making other Roombas? Call today.
Your Roomba might be lonely and need a companion. Yeah, it's generally not a good sign.
If any come within like short distance, I'll just very quickly like turn them off without anyone noticing. But the ones that come close enough for me to turn them off, just like go to sleep, no more.
And they just like kind of flicker off, and it's like, I suppose they basically just float because there's no gravity. So even when they're like little repulsors that they use to maneuver around turn off, they kind of just list a little bit and keep floating in whatever direction they were floating in, like bang off a wall, and then they become really Roomba-like as they just start ping-ponging around.
That's probably fine. We can leave them like that, right?
They're
Solves a
fine.
little bit of the problem.
Yeah, and I think if anything's gonna hear us, it's gonna hear our, and I gesture to our boots before.
Clunk.
Yeah.
Clunk.
I'm like a stealthy warrior that's like, kadonk, kadonk, kadonk. I am the knight. Kadonk.
Maybe you have the special stealth mag boots, and they're like clink clink.
Yeah, so I'll make my way to the end of the hall where it opens up a little bit more and see what we see.
All right. So your flashlights, as you look around, sort of flicker over this room. It's about like 20 feet long by like sort of the width of the ship. So it's relatively big. 20 by like 50 or something like that. There's some piles of crates everywhere, which are not floating just by virtue of fact that they have like cargo netting over them that's like anchored to the floor and like anchored to the walls. That keep everything sort of tied down in case of emergency. On the far side is a set of sealed blast doors. So like a sealed bulkhead doors that have closed that would be the entrance to the bulk cargo area. And pulled out sort of floating in the middle of the room, because it was sort of pulled out, is your Monolith cargo crate, which has no top on it, had been unlatched and broken into. There's a couple of corpses floating around in the room. And there is these like gray, almost like cable type structures. They almost look a little woody and organic that are spilling out of the box and then plunging into the floor. And hovering over the box are two of these drones, but they seem a little bit like bulkier and bigger than the other ones that you had encountered. And they're just kind of like swiveling around, and they're actually in the process, you kind of snuck in when they essentially had their back turned to you, but they're in the process of rotating around back in your direction.
I just shoved Steve in front of us.
Yeah, I guess Steve gets passed up the line to Riggs in the front, who just kind of holds him up.
Chuck him out.
Oh.
Send him out.
I look at Rinzo and then look at Mia.
She looks at you like she will murder you.
Mia's also looking at you like, you better do this.
It's like a standoff between "don't you kill Steve" and "if you kill Steve now."
Yeah, so racked with indecision, what happens is the robots finish turning around.
Is there any way I could grab like Riggs and just kind of yoink him off to the side?
Yeah, you can try and like grab him and try and hide yourself in the hallway. The hallway doesn't have a lot of cover. The closest would be you would have to, open one of these nearby doors and go into a crew quarters to sort of really duck out of sight.
Are the doors powered or are they manual?
So that is a good question. They would normally be powered, but since there is no power to the ship other than emergency, you would have to manually crank them open, which is going to take a little bit of time. Or blast them open, or...
No, I'll just tap the door and charge it.
Oh, yes, that's right. You have your little stuff.
Yeah.
I've got a good speed pool to try to drag. Can I have, like, his collar in one and, like, Mia in the other, and, like, no. I'm, like, anime running with them.
No.
All right.
And you sense, Riggs, this is under the stipulation that you do not sacrifice Steve.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and make a speed check for me, and you can apply any relevant like stealth skills and things like that you have.
I'm trained in balance, careful movement, all speed defense tactics, and physical performing arts.
Okay. So yeah, totally. I think the balance and quick movement would apply. So that would reduce your difficulty of, in this case, an unknown target by 1 step.
What was the difficulty again?
It's unknown. You don't actually know in this case what the target is.
In the words of the youth, YOLO. I got a 19.
Ooh.
All right,
Hey.
Perfect. So you would get like a minor effect with that. So you definitely grab them both and manage to pull them in tight into sort of the little teeny tiny alcove where the door is, which is like a foot deep, and you've got them both pulled in.
Yeah, and I imagine that once we're in the alcove and I realize what we're trying to do, I'll just kind of reach behind me, hit the door, and put a charge through it.
All right. So I'm going to say that, to like charge it and activate it and get it open, we'll call that a difficulty 3 intellect task.
All right. I'll just go with that. 4.
All right. So the charge kind of goes into the door, but it sparks and the door goes like kunk, but it only opens an inch and then sort of like locks in place.
I just kind of blink a few times. That usually works.
Oh, fine. Can I try and just grab it and just push it now? Now I can just, though it's open an inch, can I just slide my hand in and just...
All right, so this will be a might, and I'm going to say that this is a difficulty 3 might test.
Yep, I have nothing that will help me, so this will be fun.
Can I help with like an enhanced body to just like fume?
Absolutely, so that will reduce it to a 2.
Okay, cool. Oh my goodness. That's a 19!
Hey.
All right, so yeah, you managed to like get it open extra quick, which is good because, you know, you're pretty sure something might have heard or seen, you know, the sparking energy. So you get the door open quite quickly so that you could tumble into the room.
Clunk, 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 clunk.
Yeah. Clunk, 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 clunk.
Well, when we stand up, I get Steve and we look at Mia like disapproving parents, and I'm like, we're disappointed, but we still love you.
Thought he could maybe talk to them. Like, we're friends. I had faith in Steve.
Can both of us just be doing this?
You're moving him like this.
Yeah.
just like I put him in front of your face and go, no. You see like a tiny robot tear from his eyes.
All right, fine. If you don't have any faith in Steve's ability, then I do.
Just that, yeah, I'm like, no. We all have faith in Steve.
All right, let's figure out what to do with Steve's buff older brothers.
Yeah, Riggs just steering clear of the entire conversation. Is kind of peeking around the edge of the door and scanning the things we just saw.
All right.
Or actually scanning the box. We'll start with the box.
With the box. Okay. And what's the range on your scan? So I know it scans a 10-foot area, but
It says a short range.
Then short. Okay, so this would definitely be within short.
Okay.
Yeah, short's like 10 to 20 feet kind of thing. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's easy. Immediate's within 10. So you scan the box, and your system is like, whoa. It's like Joey from Blossom. It's just like, whoa. So the box and its contents, the sort of whatever's coming out of it, is a level 8. So it is something big. And your system just recognizes that there is a Monolith brand cargo crate with a high-powered containment system, and appears to have once held cryogenic stasis technology, but that appears to have been breached. And in fact, the entire containment system and grid that would normally be active on the box has been totally disabled and breached.
And I'll kind of duck my head like back down past the door now, turn and kind of half whisper to the other two, "Hey, so I just scanned the box thing," and the scanner just says, "Whoa." Like it's got a lot of info about the box, but it has no idea what this gray thing is.
Do you know if the gray thing was originally in the box, or did it infect the box as well?
Yes. I think it was originally in the box, but it infected the box and disabled a lot of security things. And then when they opened it, well, now it's out.
Yeah, so that's a good point. The gray stuff that's coming out of the box, that's what the level 8 is. And your scanning system just says that it is unknown nanotechnology, consistent with what you saw earlier with the corpse.
Great.
So, quick question, everyone. Were we supposed to recover it, or are we just supposed to check up on it, save people, and if like everyone's dead, we just have to go back and tell a really good lie, right? We don't have to deal with this.
I think the exact words of our contract were recover if necessary.
This is not necessary.
This is very not necessary.
Yeah, so your contract would go sort of, if the box wasn't opened, then and the ship is too damaged or whatever, then you should definitely recover it. If for whatever reason it is deemed not recoverable in your discretion, then you are definitely to make sure that like nothing blows back on Monolith, which would often entail just destroying it.
Of course.
So what do we do if we can't destroy it?
Well, as we all know, space is big. Maybe if we just close all the airlocks, shut down the engines, and turn off the distress signal, no one will ever find this thing. Alternatively, we can't destroy it with our gear, but I might be able to, if we can get to some better parts of the ship, rig something to explode.
I guess we'll just blow the whole dang thing up.
It's always an option.
Didn't the pirate ship have like souped up weapons?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the freighter has fusion engines. Those tend to explode real good when they're, damaged appropriately.
So we have what is essentially a bomb already attached to the side of the ship. Let's blow it up.
Can we make sure we blow it up when we're not on the ship?
That's a good point.
That's a definite maybe.
Good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to need to get to the engines to tinker with them, but I should probably be able to do some kind of delay. The only issue is I think all that stuff, and I kind of point towards the box and the robots, I think all that's between us and the engines.
Huh.
So anyway, if we go through crew quarters, will we be able to just bypass the cargo area and go straight to the engines, or is the cargo directly connected to the engines?
Yeah, so it's basically like just a tube, and the hallway kind of goes like right down the spine line of the ship. So the crew area is connected to this little cargo area, and then in behind that is the big cargo area, and in behind that is the engines.
Did the engines have an airlock on them?
Not that. That's a good question. There's potentially a like emergency airlock on them.
Do you want to do something really stupid?
Always.
Sure. Why not?
Well, we can't go through the ship, but we could go around the cargo bay. We've got these magnetic boots and stuff. We could just spacewalk along the outside of the hull. There might be some way in on the back of the engines. Figure it out from there.
You are insane, Sparkplug.
Let's do it. Just kind of like goes to high-five Mia. Like,
having actually said the plan out loud, I'm even less confident in it. But
I think it sounds like a great idea.
That's never a good sign.
It's never a good sign.
Yeah. Definitely going to look cool, though.
If we die, we'll die looking very cool.
And that's
Yeah.
the best way to die.
That's true.
Yeah. So, where's the nearest airlock?
So there is one in this section. The bad news is it's in the same room with the box, so it connects into that part of the crew section that they're in. And then otherwise, it would be you'd have to go back to your ship and take a secondary airlock out of your own ship onto here.
Well, which one of those two options do you two like more?
I mean, there's one right there, but also there is imminent doom right there as well.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to, do we want to...
Could we just
Take
take,
more
if we
time.
go all the way back, can we just take Pig and just pilot instead of having to walk?
There'll probably still be a little bit of walking just because I don't think we're exactly sure where this other airlock is, but
Also, it'd be really fun.
I hate all of our ideas. So
I like poke me.
stop it.
I'm like poking me like oh, sorry.
I don't know, Riggs. You're the bomb expert, so
well,
it's up to you.
I wouldn't go that far.
You're the one who can make things explode, and we need someone to make things explode.
That's
Therefore,
more
you're the
accurate.
expert.
That's not encouraging. Well, it'll take a bit more time to go back to our ship, but I think I like that idea better than having to go through the cargo bay full of deadly robots. So,
Right.
To Pig.
yeah, backtrack time.
To Pig.
To Pig.
All right. Okay, so you
We
backtrack.
shall.
You backtrack to your ship, and when you enter, Pig just says, back so soon."
We're not done yet, Pig.
"Oh, what appears to be the difficulty?"
A really bad nanobot
Death.
thing got loose.
"Oh. Nanobots, you say?
Yeah.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, how does this tie into our Monolith contract?"
Well, the Monolith box might have had the nanobots in it.
Oh dear. Well,
Yeah.
in that case, I suggest that the only logical decision is to sterilize this little problem.
That's what we were thinking. Explosive sterilization.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're definitely going to want to blow the fusion engines. Just shooting up the ship is... chances are those nanobots might survive just being exposed to vacuum.
Right.
But like some 20th century movie once said, nuking it from orbit is the only way to be sure.
Sounds, yeah, that's a good insight, Pig. And I'll pat the side of the ship.
Don't touch
As
Pig.
My security protocols
take my
are
hand off.
impeccable.
I point to Steve and Pig, on the bright side, we have a friend. I put Steve and I'm you stay here, you're safe now.
Oh. We'll have to, might have to put Steve in containment.
Can he have a window?
Well, the problem is he might be infected.
He's fine. I know the frequency. We're all good, Pig.
Yeah, we'll have to put him in containment because otherwise that's going to violate some protocols, and I'm afraid I can't let you do that.
Oh no.
Just do as Pig says, please. I don't want to deal with this.
Okay. Will you get
Don't
shut
think of
off?
it as containment. Think of it as
Prison.
A vacation? He's
It's
on
like-
vacation.
It's like a
vacation sounds
hospital.
good.
A hospital. Okay, you're going in the hospital and then mom will pick you up.
We'll make sure he's not carrying any sort of latent nano infections or a software virus or things like that.
Awesome.
And I'm going to send Pig the info that I scan, like all the scan data I got from the nano stuff,
Okay.
just to give as much help as I can.
Oh yes, this does look nasty.
Yeah.
We should nuke it.
Yeah, that's the plan. We just gotta walk down the outside of this ship and hope there's a way into the fusion reactor from there.
Hmm. It would make sense for
this plan.
there should at least be emergency access to the engine compartment. I won't be able to dock, but I can get you close.
That'll be nice.
I like
Right.
pat both of you on the back and I'm like, let's go blow some stuff up.
Some reassuring confidence. I'm just a little
right.
skeptical that this plan's going to work.
So you get back to the ship. It detaches. Pygmalion sort of gently eases its way down the ship, and Pygmalion gives you sort of two options. One is Pygmalion can get you sort of just lined up with the emergency airlock, and you can sort of spacewalk out, kind of just jump out of Pygmalion and land on the other ship. That's a little bit harder, but it will be quicker because you'll have to, propel yourself through vacuum and target an area to attach to. Or Pygmalion can get sort of land itself and attach magnetically to the bulk cargo section, and you could walk from there. So that will be slower but safer, and the other one's quicker but a little more dangerous.
I don't feel like getting lost in space, so let's have Pig land.
Seconded.
All right.
Okay.
Safe sounds nice.
All right. So Pig gets as close as it can, which it will basically take you probably about 10 minutes to walk from where Pig can land to where the emergency airlock is into the engine compartments.
Okay.
And then basically like cycles you through, right? And your mag boots, and you just be like walking on the outside of the ship.
Right.
Clunk, 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 clunk.
Pig ass is like, will you need access to the explosives?
We have explosives.
Acheron prepares for every eventuality.
What have we got?
Oh, what don't we have? And Pygmalion directs you to go to the weapons locker.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Wait, we've had a weapons locker and I've just been shooting lightning out of my hands?
I mean, I could have
Someone
told you,
told
but
me.
it's cooler, man.
All right. I'm going to rifle around in there. It's just if I can find anything that looks like a remote detonator, that'll be nice.
Yeah, well, so some great, revealing of all the goodies type music starts playing, right? As you stride back, and the weapons locker slides open. It's definitely one of those like nice white lights blink on, and like neatly racked up are like all of these firearms and pistols and stuff in various kinds. And this is where you normally house everything. And but then Pygmalion says, "But wait, there's more." And that sort of slides back and reveals in behind it a section that you didn't actually know about that has stacked up all kinds of explosives of various kinds. And Pygmalion says, we normally keep these under lock and key for your own protection because explosives are very dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Right.
probably right. I say as I tap something to discharge all the static electricity I've got built up.
But there is basically everything from like small like rocket pod type things, so like weapons that fire small explosive rockets, to like demolition charges, basically, that yes would have various kinds of remote detonators.
Have I told you how much I love you, Pig?
Only this morning, my dear.
If there are things that are, what is it, electrical, I can also do remote activation from within a short distance
Huh,
if necessary.
that'll be really helpful.
I am a remote detonator myself.
Now,
Okay.
a short distance is quite close.
Yeah.
So sort of like within 20 feet. So that would be within the blast radius of pretty much most of these explosives.
I'll just start running.
But yeah, I'll find like the longest range remote detonator we have. If there's anything that's like timer based, I'll grab one of those too.
Yeah, I can imagine that there's some like very high tech stuff that you can both set a timer and also remotely detonate it, and it works on like a pretty fair distance.
Right. I don't know how to use any of these rocket launchers or anything, but do you two want them?
I'll take a rocket launcher for fun.
I would love one.
What could possibly go wrong here?
So there's basically it ranges, but basically, it would qualify as either a medium weapon or a heavy weapon.
Just say we've got 2 rocket launchers and a detonator.
I think I'll take the heaviest one.
All right.
Yeah, I'll go heavy too. Aesthetically, it's like matching.
Yeah, I can imagine it's like basically like a pod type system that like attaches to your suit on the shoulder and has like that Predator style like automated like laser sight and fires rockets.
Just in case.
Yeah.
All right.
Just in case.
And then yes, there is like all kinds of, sort of like your equivalent of like C4 bricks, right? But
yeah,
more advanced for laying demolition charges.
Yeah, then I will grab a few of those. And actually, Pig, do you have like a laser cutter kind of thing?
Oh, of course. In sort of any toolkit, there'd be like little plasma torches.
Oh no, like a cutting through bulkhead sized one.
Oh yeah, like a bigger one, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's like sort of indicates and some stuff lights up around the breaching kit area.
Oh, perfect.
And so it's got like some smaller breaching charges, but also like some big heavy duty laser cutter.
And I'll grab that stuff as well. All right, I think that's everything we need, right?
Yep.
Let's go.
All right.
Are there any like small like really small bombs? Like mine bomb things?
Yeah, there's like some small grenades and things like that.
I kind of whistle and pocket a couple.
All right.
Are we leaving Steve or are we taking him?
I think we should keep Steve quarantined.
Yeah, because Steve quarantine, he's safe aboard here.
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
all right, so you start making your way, clonking down along the outside of the ship.
There's a really cool shot of the airlock opening and the three of us standing there with all these explosives.
Like rocket launchers on our big door in the center, and then there's just us with like matching rocket launchers just like walking super cool.
The big laser cutter like slung, propped up over one shoulder, like being held in one hand.
Walking in unnecessarily slow motion.
Yeah, well, it's actually slow motion because at first you're like kicking out in 0G and then like arcing down to the ship and like your boots lock. And then it's like thunk thunk, thunk thunk, thunk thunk down along the outside of the ship.
Is there any way we can have like Pygmalion play like some epic music in our helmets while we're doing this?
Absolutely. He like cues up a soundtrack. It comes into life.
And I kind of shrug as we're going.
Come true.
See, I told you that this plan was going to look really cool.
Pygmalion for your soundtrack gives you a couple of options. He's like late 20th, early 21st century, like rock music slash, hip hop, throws up some selections like Beastie Boys and things like that, obviously.
Of course.
And there's, various like synthwave soundtracks and things like that that gives your option. And then there's some like newer things, like Martian techno funk and Jovian soul beats and.
We're just like shuffling.
Yeah,
It's like three people competing for the aux chord. Like, no.
Yeah, each of us picks a different playlist. And,
you get halfway
as
through
we're
a song
walking.
and you hit no, you want to listen to this one and like go to this YouTube video.
Yeah. But no, wait, we should have listened to this one.
Oh no, this is a cover. I don't like this one.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that's how we spend the 10-minute walk. Arguing over the soundtrack.
You only get like 15 seconds into any song before you're cycling it to another one.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes. All right. So you get you traverse along and then find yourself outside of a small emergency airlock. It is only big enough for one person to cycle through at a time. And it takes probably about 10 minutes to cycle because it has to pump out air, pump it back in, that sort of thing. Or you can go for just an emergency override because you're pretty sure you have no idea if there's atmosphere inside the engine bay or not, and of course you have your suits.
Yeah, the emergency override sounds much safer than my idea. Let's do the emergency override.
You were going to explode something?
Well, I mean, we had these breaching charges.
All right. So hacking in and initiating the emergency override, I'm going to call a level 4 difficulty intellect task.
Can I assist with my training in tasks involving electrical?
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably be the best person to make the
Yeah,
check.
but I shouldn't roll.
Oh, well.
With the way my dice have been handling, I shouldn't be the one to roll.
Yeah,
That
so
is completely fair.
So if someone else wants to, then Mia can be an asset. So reducing it to 3.
I can certainly try.
And then of course you can spend effort if you wanted to as well.
What type of task would this be?
This is intellect.
Why not? I've still got a bunch. So we'll spend 2 more points of intellect.
All right, so that'll bring it down to a 2.
Let's give it a shot. Crap.
Oh no.
I got a 4.
So yeah, you hack into it and you hit some sort of security system.
Did you say
Seems
the
to
red
be
wire or
blocking
the
it,
blue
yeah.
wire?
Yeah, the green one. Is there not a green wire?
So you can always choose a you can re-roll by spending your experience point that you have if you wanted to. Or you can just try again, but you have to spend effort just to retry.
Maybe someone else should try.
If someone else tries the same task, do we also have to spend effort, or is it just a fresh roll?
I think it's just a fresh roll.
All right, I'll give it a go then.
Okay.
I'll assist if I can with. I say I assist with my can like the knowledge of robotics.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we're looking at a 2 because you're from the assist and your own skill.
All right. It's a natural 1 again. I'm really sorry, guys.
Ooh.
All right.
I told you I shouldn't roll.
So this time you hit the security system again, and everything goes red as it locks down on an emergency lockdown system. And a small hatch beside the airlock pops open, and a pretty hefty-looking drone pops out. And you see like little red dots appearing on your spacesuits. So I will have you all make speed initiative checks.
Oh, this is why we brought the rocket launchers.
Hey.
Yes.
Okay, not bad.
There's a 6 for me.
Okay. And Mia?
That's a 15.
Okay. And Riggs?
Yeah, so I actually got a 20 this time.
All right. So you definitely go first.
Great. And then do major effects and stuff like that trigger on initiative rolls?
I think they trigger on everything. Quite often the effects are just, you go a little bit quicker. I am just going to say that your major effect for a 20 on your initiative roll is that you go so quick that counts as an asset. So its difficulty is going to be reduced by 1 for you.
Oh, sweet. Then, yeah, I'll just kind of hold up a hand, Iron Man blast this thing, and see how it goes.
Okay. So it's normally a level 3, but it's going to be a level 2 from your surprise.
That'll be a 12.
All right, so that hits. How much damage does your onslaught do?
4, and it's electrical damage. I don't know if that
Okay.
matters since it's a robotic enemy or anything.
It's sort of got like shielding and things like that, and in
Right.
fact, your electrical hits it, and you can see like some of the energy sort of gets dissipated by this armor plating that's on it, but it does spark, and it does definitely do damage to it.
Oh, cool.
All right, so Mia will be next.
I'm gonna fire a giant rocket at it.
All right, so this will be attacking with a heavy weapon, and you're trained in all weapons, right?
Yes, I am.
All right, so it is just a speed attack, and again, it's against a difficulty level of 3.
All right. Edge doesn't do anything for attacks, right?
Only if you're spending effort to reduce the difficulty. Yeah.
Nah, I'm just gonna take the straight. I'm gonna take the 3.
Okay.
That's a natural 20.
Hey!
Excellent. Excellent. So that automatically does extra damage. I believe it does an extra 4. So you normally do 6. Extra 4 brings it up to 10. And even reduced by its armor, basically your rocket hits it, explodes, and it detonates into just like a smoldering, expanding, vaporized cloud of scrap metal.
It's one of those Star Wars explosions. Yeah.
The little ring, and it is just vaporized.
Bye.
I kind of look over my shoulder at
Vector.
Mia, like,
Can I do the same and just go, that was amazing?
There's like one rocket gone out of your pod.
We should still
Nice.
we still can't get in.
well,
Can I like cyborg skills activate and try again to get into this thing?
So you can. The difficulty has gone up because
Oh, no.
sort of like the security system like fried the lock. So I think it started at a 4, right? Was where I had started it at.
yeah, I think so.
So it's gonna go up to a 6 in terms of like a hacking attempt.
Oh, and this is like intellect, isn't it?
This is intellect, yeah.
No,
We always
I
have
am.
we've
So-
got
so
plan B.
So 6 sets a target of an 18 before you start, applying skills and assets to reduce the difficulty.
Yeah, my intellect pool is a solid 8. So, I may not be the best one for this.
Well, so that only affects. I mean, you can still spend effort out of that, right? It just weakens your intellect if you happen to get an intellect attack against you.
I can give it a go. I have the. If you don't mind, I'm the one who fried it, though.
I will assist.
So for you, the problem is you're sort of reattempting the same task.
Oh yeah, no.
So it will go from a 6 to a 7 for you.
Okay, I'm just gonna go for it.
Then never mind.
Breaching charges.
Let's just blow it up.
You know what? Yeah, let's just blow it up.
This is fine.
When in doubt,
All right.
explosives.
So using the breaching charge is just going to be a level 3 task. It's just like where you properly set it and like that sort of thing.
Right.
And if you've got any sort of experience in demolitions or things like that.
None. But Mia knows how to use all weapons, right?
I mean, I do. And I'm also very good at puzzle solving.
So I'll consider that an asset to reduce it from a 3 to a 2 if the two of you work on it together.
All right.
Sure.
Sounds good. Let's hope I can do better than a 4. 14.
All right. So you have a charge all set. You sort of evacuate to a safe distance. You blow it. And there is actually like a jetting out of atmosphere as basically you breach it and it just like blows out. The ship actually moves a little bit with, the atmosphere sort of flooding out. But then you have a clear entrance into the engine bay.
Well, that went well.
We should have done that in the first place. Let's go.
I'll follow behind Mia.
I will shimmy along behind you.
I got the rocket launcher ready, and I'm just in case anything shows up, I'm gonna blast it.
Great.
So yeah,
it's rocket launchers.
It's tracking around. Yeah, and you find yourself in some pretty cramped quarters. There's sort of some little walkways and work consoles, but most of what you can see is taken up just with this like large blackish gray metallic sphere that makes up the outside of like the fusion containment chamber, and it just has like all these like heavy piping and things like that going into it, and then there's like computer consoles and stuff like that interact with it, and there's like some hatches and things. And of course, like big bulkhead doors that go back into the cargo section.
And the power is off, right?
The power is off, yeah.
Okay.
Other than like some emergency type stuff. And like the fusion containment sphere has like a backup power source just so it doesn't like totally lose power, because that could also be bad.
Let's blow it up.
Right. I'll rub my hands together and put them on the console and see if I can get power back to the controls for the thing.
Okay. So you throw some energy into it. To activate a single terminal, I'm going to say this is a level 3 difficulty.
Lovely. Ooh, so apparently this actually... Yeah, so this is actually going to cost me intellect points then, it looks like, because it's for each level of the device, it looks like it costs an intellect point. So
okay, yeah, so you add those up first and then you subtract 1 off for your edge.
All right, so this will cost me 2 then?
Yep.
Level 3 device? All right, cool.
Yes, yeah.
Then I'll put a little bit more power into this one than the other ones and get a 3.
All right. So it sparks. You've got energy like coruscates over it, but it seems to just like overload the console, and like sort of smoke is coming out of it, and it does not turn on.
We don't need it to turn on for it to blow up, though, right?
Oh,
I mean, that would have been the easy way, but I'm starting to get this idea that maybe electrocuting consoles until they work might not work.
So what are you guys gonna do?
is the idea we can we attach the detonators to the fusion, or we can also overload the fusion thingamabout to explode?
Or we turn off the power.
Yeah, it's enough power.
What'll that do?
So it depends. The problem when the containment sphere totally loses power, it's basically got like this minimal power source, so that it depends what state the engine is in. So if it loses power, if the engine wasn't sort of actively doing some like fusion, then it just loses power and it's fine. But it's basically like a UPS system. So it lets the thing like kind of ramp down. So if power is totally withdrawn when the fusion reactor is like active, then it loses containment and it explodes immediately.
I don't
Not
like
do
it the immediately part.
Yeah.
Chances are, if the main power like actually went down, it's been down for 3 days, and so the fusion reactor is just like cooled off and is not actively working.
that. All right. We just pop explosions on the sphere and see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good idea. How much of a charge would it take to warm up the engine again?
Ooh, a lot. Yeah.
Probably more than I have left then.
Probably, yeah. That's probably at least a level like 5 device or something.
Ooh, yeah. Kind of look to the other two.
Dude, all we can do is just put explosives on things. You're the one with the electricity.
Yeah.
Unless you feel like trying to shove one of those many batteries you got into these consoles and hoping something happens.
Oh,
There's not
yeah,
much else you can do.
actually.
You do have those batteries.
I do, yeah.
You have a lot of batteries.
Yeah, so the exact wording on the thing is whenever I find a new device that operates on batteries or cells, GM discretion, there's a 75% chance that the bag contains one that'll power the device.
All right. So we
Yeah.
gotta roll some percentile dice.
Yeah.
I have some. Oh, they're everywhere.
Oh, no.
What do I need to roll?
75 or less.
Oh no. It's a 00 and a 3.
Yeah, so that's a 3. So yeah,
Nice.
you've got like sort of a UPS battery that you can plug in, jury rig into the console to power it on.
I completely forgot I had this thing. I'll just kind of clunk it onto the console and start, attaching wires.
Yeah, and so the console activates and comes on in sort of like a standby kind of low power mode.
It's about time you put those batteries to use.
Yeah, I mean, I keep collecting them. Like,
I know.
I've been schlucking these things around since the moon.
yeah, look, I knew it was going to come in handy one day.
I just see you like with like a bowling ball bag just full of batteries. Just like it's in here. It's in here.
Yeah, I imagine there's also like a bandolier.
Yeah.
But it's just like 9 volts.
Batteries, yeah.
You pull them out
like-
and like lick them, and then
You're just
Oh, yeah,
throwing
this
them
one's
behind,
good.
like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
all right. So you've got the one console sort of activated.
All right. Mia, this is your wheelhouse again, I think.
What do you want me to do? Turn on the fusion?
Yeah,
What
we're
am I
going to
supposed to
turn
do?
on the fusion, and then we're going to need to cut the auxiliary power.
Isn't that the thing that makes it explode immediately?
Okay, we're
Yes.
not going to cut the auxiliary power.
We want to get it warm so it's really good for exploding, then put charges on it, and then blow it up, right?
Yes, or set the auxiliary power to stop on a delay.
We have to get the engine going and then have the...
Yeah.
I think it might be easier because we have time charges. It'll be easier to just time charges and detonate it from Pygmalion when Pygmalion's like gotten the heck out of
A
Dodge.
safe distance,
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's just let's warm this engine up. So I'm gonna try and get the fusion going, I guess.
All right. So you need to get it going. I'm going to say that starting the fusion reactor, especially with just a single active console, is probably going to be a level 4 difficulty.
Can I assist with like the whole finger interfacing thing to try and find the quickest route?
Sure. I'll buy
and
that.
Does my training with electrical machines also come in handy?
Yeah, I'd say that's, applies kind of generally to computers.
So what does that
So
bring?
it's down to a 2.
All right. Here goes
Sounds good.
nothing. That is a 16.
Yeah.
All right. So you managed to find, the big restart fusion reactor, and it goes through a restart process, and it starts ramping up and turning on. And as it does, all the other consoles come on, and all the lights and power in the ship starts coming on, including the grav plates. So the artificial gravity
Conk.
becomes restored. From the other side of the bulkhead, you hear some thumps as like things fall to the ground.
Don't we? Isn't there like a big hole in here though? So.
Oh yeah, you still don't have any atmosphere. You're standing here, but like all the lights and stuff turn on.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, the airlock's blown out and there's 0 atmosphere in here.
But there's gravity. Okay.
Yeah, but there's gravity.
All right. Well, spotlight's on you, Sparky. Get those explosives, blow uppy thingies.
Right. And yeah, at this point, I'd like to use my Tinker thing and the abundance of explosives we have to rig this thing to explode after a reasonable amount of time for us to get away, or a remote trigger, whichever happens last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So bringing up the timers and stuff, that's no problem. Finding the good places to place the explosives to like cut the power and all that sort of thing, that's a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to call that also a level 4 task.
All right. And I'll spend some effort on this one.
Would you also like me to assist with my puzzle solving skills?
Sure.
All right, so that brings it down to a 2.
All right. Let's see how this goes. Hey! Nat 20.
All right.
Very good.
You find not only the exact places to place the charges, but in about half the time that you would have expected.
Perfect.
So you have them all set, which is good because you start seeing creeping across the ceiling and headed towards the sphere, these little growing gray tendrils seem to be like growing along like power conduits and headed for the fusion reactor.
Let's go.
Yep.
Yep. Just like, okay, time to go.
We can
Yep.
like call Pygmalion from where we are to get him like right in front of the hole so we can just jump.
Absolutely,
Yes.
and he will do that. And so the ship sort of detaches, comes around. It takes only a few minutes. The airlock, the outer airlock doors on Pygmalion slide open. He gets as close as he can, which is not super close. So you do have to like launch yourself through and into the airlock across sort of like a 10-foot gap or so. So I'm going to call this a level 3 speed challenge.
jump first.
So I think Rinzo has like super trained in all this like physical type stuff. I think that totally works here. So it'll be a level 2 for you.
That ballerina training.
The ballerina training comes in handy.
Good day.
Yeah. Parkour, parkour.
And then, of course, you can always spend effort. So you can spend 3 points from your speed pool to reduce it to a level 1.
If I jump over, can I like offer assistance, like hold out a hand, which may help them?
Yeah.
Then I will do my jump across and expend an effort to make that a 1.
Yep. So you only need to roll 3 or higher.
15.
All right. So you get across no problem and sort of grab on and then sort of, hold out. So we'll say that can be an asset.
Okay, I'll go next.
Okay.
Actually, wait. Never mind. No, I was like, should I take the remote detonator and go, or should the person with the remote detonator go now or go last?
I turn and look at the gray tendrils coming through the door and walls and stuff. How, in the time it took Pygmalion to get set up, how much of those sort of grown?
They're, they close the distance. They're going pretty quick. You can see like little sparks of energy as like they sort of grow along power conduits and seem to get like thicker as they absorb the energy.
All right, I'm just gonna forget decision making. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna also expend an effort.
Okay, so that will reduce it to a 1 for you as well.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! It's a 5.
All right.
Oh.
So you kick across, and like Rinzo just like barely grabs your arm and sort of slings you into the airlock behind her.
I'm just yelling, "The power of friendship!" Just as I throw you behind me.
We're not friends.
Ouch. Truth burns.
Yeah.
I'm a half machine. It totally counts.
It's true. All right, and Riggs.
Yeah, I will jump across.
All right, so it is a level 3 to start.
Yeah, so I've got Mia's assistance, but I still rolled a 3.
All right.
Bye.
So you kick off and you're headed sort of in the right direction, but you're off course, and you go to grab a hold and end up sort of coming to the side and like bouncing off, and then are starting to float away.
Oh no.
Is there any way that I can use the grav boots? I'm trying to think of a way I could do this. How far is he away from the ship?
So it's a slow drift at the moment. So you've still got time to do something.
Okay, this may be a really dumb plan. Is there any way I can leap back onto the other ship and propel so that I can grab him and then get onto the side of Pygmalion, let you go dupe?
Okay. So doing it in the 2 stages will make the second one a little harder because he'll have drifted a bit further away. But so the first one to go back is the same. So it's just a difficulty level 3 to do it to Pygmalion, reduced, by 1 from your skill. And
19.
Okay. So you get a minor effect. So you've actually managed to do that quickly enough that the secondary task is not going to be increased by a step. But you're going to like sort of kick off and grab him and try and get, cling onto Pygmalion. So I'm going to call that a 4. So that's going to be a difficulty level 4 speed challenge.
Can I see what's happening and try and just yell, Pygmalion, got it! And just hope that we get as close to them as possible?
Sure. So I will have you make a level 3 intellect.
All right. Do I get does my electrical machine task or any of my skills apply?
Yeah. I think your puzzle solving is pretty good here. Yeah, because it's a timing thing. Like you got to tell Pygmalion like, a trajectory and timing and yeah.
All right. Come on. That's a 3. I don't know.
All right. So we won't get an asset from that, unfortunately. But it doesn't make things worse. It just you won't get any help.
I'm just on my back and I'm like, what's going on?
Can I expend anything from my speed pool or edge pool to help with this?
Yeah. You can spend effort from your speed pool.
I would like to spend effort from my speed pool.
Okay, so you can spend 3. If you've got edge, that reduces it to 1, and that reduces the difficulty by 1 step. So we've gone from 4 to a 3 from your skill, and then 2 from your effort.
Okay. That is a 4.
Oh my god! You guys!
So you kick off, you grab a hold of Riggs, and you're both like with the sort of trajectory change of Pygmalion, you're drifting past Pygmalion and I mean away from the big ship, but past Pygmalion.
I have a really bad idea again.
Are you gonna use the rocket launcher?
Yeah, like I guess having been grabbed now, I'm like, what's the bad idea? And we're probably spinning, aren't we?
Yeah, you've collided. You're like doing a little bit of a spinning thing.
Can I use the rocket launcher to push me to Pygmalion?
Interesting. So usually, like I think you absolutely can try. It's gonna be quite difficult. Because you're spinning around, and the rocket launchers are kind of designed to like not, push you, but
so actually,
a little bit.
To help out, could I tinker with the rocket launcher so that it does push us?
Yeah, so you could spend the time to try and do this.
That is going to take time.
Pygmalions, like, come
yeah.
You're probably going to have to spend at least 10 minutes. So you'll have drifted a bit further away by that point as well. And you think those nanotendrils might hit the fusion reactor by then.
Yeah. Well, I had an idea, but we don't have time for it. What's the best you got, Renzo?
So, is there any way I can so we're spinning and we're drifting further away from Pygmalion. Is there any way we can get Pygmalion to shift a little?
Oh yes, no, absolutely.
We're
So
connected to Pygmalion, so can I just be like?
yeah, so it's all just a matter of time. So your rocket idea is quick and expedient, right? In terms of trying to get you back, it's just going to be challenging. I'm going to say it's probably starts out at something like a level 6, level 5 task. Yeah, we'll say level 5. You could do the tinkering to make it easier, right? So get an automatic sort of asset and things like that. It'll just take about 10 minutes, in which case the nanites are going to probably get to the fusion reactor by that point, and who knows how that will go. And you can get Pygmalion to like pick you up, essentially, and again, that will probably take about 10 minutes to like finesse into the exact right position.
Is there any way I can use like my balance and physical skills to try and like perfect the timing of shooting this rocket?
Yeah, I think that's a skill that should totally apply there. So it would take it from a 5 to a 4.
And what would this was this might, speed, or intellect?
This would be speed, because it's like going to be your like reaction timing and things like that.
Can I spend more speed?
Oh yeah, if you have points in your pool, you can always spend effort.
I would like to spend effort and on speed.
Okay, so a level of effort will take it down to a 2.
Okay, let's roll. Let's do it.
Can I try to maneuver Pygmalion like so that they're facing again, or is that the same task and that would repeat?
It would be the same task, so it just means you have to spend a level of effort to do it, but you can still try.
Alternatively, could I use my scanner to calculate a trajectory?
So your scanner has to scan like an object that's within 10 feet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's to maneuver Pygmalion. That would be intellect.
Yes.
I'll spend the effort
Okay.
to roll again.
Yes.
Is it still a level 2 difficulty because it was brought down by my?
So your original effort doesn't apply. So the effort you spent.
I didn't apply effort before. It
Oh,
was my
okay.
machine affinity.
Oh, okay. Yes. So yes, it would be you spend a level of effort, and it would be the same. Yeah, level 2.
All right, cool. It's a 17.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, a 7 would have succeeded too. So we'll consider that an asset. So on your rocket roll, so you've reduced another step.
Okay.
So just don't roll a 2 or a 1, basically.
Moment to truth.
Nat 20.
All right. So you perfectly time it, and also ensure that like the rocket streaks off and doesn't hit either ship, to get you in the right direction. And you get there quite quickly. So it's a perfectly timed precision maneuver, and you both end up safely inside the airlock.
Whew.
All right, gotta blow it up. Let's blow it up.
Yeah.
And this entire time, my heart will go on have been playing in our helmets.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like it just at some point after I bounced off the ship, like that's what the sound just shuffled to.
Yeah.
And we were all just too panicked to change it.
It's just been playing the whole time.
Yeah, we just didn't notice until now.
All right. So Pygmalion starts accelerating away as quick as possible, and recommends that you get inside and buckle up for a potentially rough ride. And Pygmalion's able
after the rough ride it had.
And so you sort of you time it and detonate sort of as quickly as you can. You can see actually just before you detonate it, because it takes you probably about 15 minutes to really get going and get far enough away. You can see these like large gray tendrils start erupting out of the ship, because it got juiced up as it started drawing main power from the reactivated fusion engine. But after that happens a few minutes later, you click the remote detonator, and pretty quickly the whole ship just turns into a flash of white light. It just completely incinerates. Pygmalion just comes on and says, well, no recovery bonus, but a job well done.
And no death. Yay!
Well, yes. You didn't cause any anyway.
Nope. Technically, everything we killed was already dead.
Exactly.
And it looks like
I got a free gun.
Yeah.
You win some, all in a day's work.
We're still getting paid, right?
Oh, of course.
Oh, thank God.
Always get paid, just no bonus. All right, and that is where we will end. All right.
Nice.
So thank you guys. Thank you guys very much. That was fun as always, messing around in the Cypher system, and it was great. Great playing with some new faces.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun playing.
This was so awesome. Honestly, it was so much fun.
So we traditionally sign off. We go around. You remind people who you are, where they can find you. I mean, they can see your stuff below, but doesn't hurt to remind. And if you've got any announcements or anything going on out around the web, feel free to do that as well. And we'll go in reverse order and start with Mackenzie.
Hey, hi, I'm Mackenzie. Mostly you can find me on Twitter at Mackenzie Lane DA. That's MAKENZIELANEDA. Sometimes people spell it wrong, so just putting that out there. Yeah, I normally do a lot of D&D stuff, but this was fun and new, and I had a lot of fun, and I hopefully will get to play more Cypher in the future.
Excellent. And we also traditionally ask everyone what their favorite moment was.
Oh, man. I think either the nat 20 on blowing up the drone or the nat 20 to propel you back into the ship.
Yeah.
Those are both pretty good.
Yeah, those were both pretty great. All right, Val.
I'm Val. I go on the Nerdy Niffler on Twitter, and again, I mostly just post D&D stuff because I do a lot of stuff with D&D, or just random sarcastic comments because I'm British and that's just what we do. My favorite moment, again, it would be a tie between just Steve and it was so many good moments. Then the shooting back into the ship, because that was so awesome.
That was so stressful though. Like both of you guys started drifting off and I'm just in the ship like
Yeah, too bad we didn't think of having a rope, right?
You know what? I thought about it and then was like, nope, tiny grenades will be more helpful.
I was picturing the Boondock Saints scene, and who needs some rope? What are you gonna do with rope?
Yeah.
Excellent. And last but not least, Ben.
Right. So yeah, I'm Ben Sandfelder. I'm a game designer in Atlanta. I do a couple of just homebrew indie game systems that I'm trying to get published, but they're still in testing. I also do D&D organized play adventures. My first one's getting published hopefully by the end of this month, and then I've got another one that's a convention exclusive until March. So
great.
That's what's going on there. Yeah.
But that's excellent. And your favorite moment?
So having to get rescued and blasted back into the ship is definitely up there. I think another really good one was the hallway scene when we first saw the box and Mia just grabs both of us and pulls us into the door.
It wasn't me. I was the one who tried chucking Steve.
Yeah, Rinzo. Nope.
Oh yeah, Rinzo grabbed us and pulled us into the doorway. Right? Yeah.
Anime running. No.
Yeah.
Another good one was the first nat 1. That was, I forgot about that, but that was so scary.
Yeah.
That was great.
All in all, a lot of good moments.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Fun.
So I am Dan Gaston at MadSciDM on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter talking normally just about RPG stuff and occasionally science and sometimes the fusion of those two. And I am here on Variant Roles putting together one-shots. So channel announcements, of course. Anyone watching this on YouTube, you can find us on Patreon and support the channel that way. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, here on Twitch. We are open to subscriptions, all many ways that you can support the channel as we attempt to grow it and bring more people in, like today, where we had all new people, which is great. We have coming up starting on Monday, February 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be launching our Dungeon of the Mad Mage mega stream. So as we come back from our extended break after wrapping Dragon Heist, and so that will be airing 3 nights a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturday afternoons, and maybe the odd Saturday evening game thrown in if we need it. And that's going to be run in an episodic West Marches style. So everyone here, of course, is invited to come back and drop in on that. It's going to be basically dungeon levels played as you will, and really only committing to play the level over the space of 2 to 3 weeks, basically, depending on the level. And we've got a cast of DMs in charge of different levels, and we're running through like 3 sections of Mad Mage simultaneously. So it should be interesting. And just a whole bunch of dungeon crawling going on across the channel. And starting soon in the next couple of weeks, Saturday nights we will also be running Invisible Sun, another Monty Cook Games extravaganza. And of course we will be running more Cypher and one-shots across the channel as we ramp up and get things going. So that's pretty much all the firm announcements, and we thank everyone for watching, and thank you guys for coming and playing. Cypher for the first time, streaming with us for the first time here on Variant Roles. Very happy to have you guys, and you're definitely welcome back absolutely anytime. Right, and with that, we will sign off. So thank you, and good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.